Hey friends, thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I have a 12 by 12 scrapbooking process for you, as well as the giveaway winner from International Scrapbooking Day. If you stick around until the end, I'll have that for you. I'm going to be scrapping these two 3 by 3 photographs here. I've printed them in color. I have put them through Lightroom here a little bit, and I did just, slightly adjust them a little bit. And I'm also going to be using this really cool paper from One Canoe 2 from the Saturday Afternoon collection. I really love this paper. I think it's really neat, and I wanted to use kind of a masculine color scheme here today. So I'm just showing you I wanted to use the colors that are on that one side of the paper and kind of create a little bit of a craft, and then some blues and blue greens and greens, and then mixed in with a craft kind of a color scheme here to go along with my photographs. So you saw the photos there have lots of green in them. They're taken outside. A couple of photographs of my son when he took a trip this weekend actually to my sister's in Ontario, and they sent me some pictures of them gardening together, and I thought I would scrap these two because they're adorable, and my sister's always really good about sending me photos of him, which I really appreciate. So what I'm going to do is just release these shapes here, these geometric shapes, and I'm going to just take my scissors and fussy cut a chunk of those shapes off of the one side that are the color that I really wanted to focus on with this layout here. So just going to go around them and just kind of get an idea of, once I get this down on my paper, what I'm going to do for a design, because at this point I really didn't have a clue. I almost always start with my photographs when I'm starting a layout, and then I decide whether I'm going to print those photos in black and white or color, and then go for whatever collection, color scheme, etc. that I'm going to be using from there. So that's kind of the process that I used here to get going today. So I'm just going to trim off that manufacturer's strip, and and you can see here that I've got that really cool kind of strip to use on the one side of my page. So I'm going to place that down here, and then I'm just going to kind of think about where it might be logical to work on the focal point here. And I'm thinking the bottom third of the layout kind of seems to make sense, because those geometric shapes just seem to progressively get to be a larger chunk on the right. And so kind of focusing on the bottom seemed to make sense. Now I'm just going to take my pencil and mark off some more of those shapes that I want to cut out. I didn't really want any purple on this layout, so I'm just going to go in with my scissors, pardon me, and just fussy cut out those other geometric shapes there and get those cut out, and then I will have the strip that I want. So I've got that now. I'm just going to take my eraser and erase those pencil lines off of there and just kind of get this all situated the way that I want it. I actually ended up taking this, once I have this adhered down, I actually took this and put it through my sewing machine and added a little kind of bit of stitching along the edge of those geometric shapes on the left side as they go down the paper. I just thought that would be neat, a little bit of extra texture on the layout. And you know what, if you have a sewing machine, that is a really super easy, fast way to just add a really little bit of detail to your layout that really makes a big impression. And I really like doing that. I feel like it's just a really simple thing to do that packs a big punch, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to get that on there, and I'm just going to keep placing my photos on there to kind of get a sense of where I want them, and then I'm going to be good to go here. So here you see a little transition. I'm going to get my paper stuck down. So what have you guys been up to? Have you been doing some gardening? Let me know in the comment section below. It's been pretty cool here this spring here in Saskatchewan where I am. And I did get my pots, my flower pots and whatnot out into my yard, but it has been pretty chilly. Last night it went down to 3 again. So yeah, it's kind of scary. We've had quite a bit of frost this spring. So I just love these pictures of Jordan gardening. I think they're so cute. He doesn't get to do stuff like this in Kingston very often, obviously. And so it was just really fun for him. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just create a really simple mat on my photographs using a paper bag. Yes, you can use a paper bag to mat your photos. Like I said earlier, I really wanted to do a little bit of craft on this layout just because it's a masculine layout, and I just really like the look of that, and I think it looks really good with this color scheme. So I just took the bag and I added it to a little bit to the back of my photos, and I'm just trimming them out a little bit, making sure that I get those mats a little bit straight on 3 sides, and then the bottom edge I just ripped just to add a little bit of texture to the photo mat layer. So just gonna trim that up a little bit. I really love the little bit of a border on my photos as well. I like especially a square photograph. I don't know what it is, but it just reminds me of an old school photo that way. And I just think it looks really neat. So what I do when I'm trimming my photos out with my little Tim Holtz trimmer is I put the colored edge of the photo where the plastic edge of the trimmer is, if you know what I mean. So you see where that plastic guide is, and just line that up right where the colored edge of the photo is, and it leaves just the right amount of border around the edge of the picture, so that when I'm trimming my photos, it's a really neat guide for getting exactly the same width of the frame around all of that white frame or border around all of my photographs. So I really like that. I like that look. I think it looks really neat, and I feel like it already adds a nice layer to the photograph. So I only did just this one mat on my photos, just that one layer of that brown paper bag, and just added a little bit of repositionable adhesive to the back of my photos, and which you can see is helpful when you want to move the mat around a little bit, just to make sure that it is all even and you have it just in the right spot. Now I am going to add some foam adhesive eventually to the back of those photos to pop them up off the layout a little bit. At least I believe I do with the one photo on the left. I don't think I popped the one up on the right, actually. I'm just looking at my layout now. No, I did not. So because that photo on the left is going to be overlaid over top of the one on the right, I just put a little bit of foam adhesive on that one to pop it up. Now I'm just taking a acrylic stamping block here. These are just my Stampin' Up! Acrylic blocks. And I'm just adding a little bit of oxide ink. I use 2 colors, Shabby Shutters and Bundled Sage, just to create a little bit of color behind my photos. Now, I did not treat my Basil Marshmallow white cardstock with any gesso. It's just the paper. And the nice thing about this paper is it's super thick. And so it can take a little bit of moisture, not too much, but a little bit. It did buckle a tiny little touch, not much. I wasn't unhappy at all with that. And so that was fine. Now this is a little bit of pumice stone as well. So I also used a little bit of that just to bring in the gray a little bit, because you can see that patterned One Canoe 2 paper does have a little bit of gray in it as well. I'm just trying to absorb up some of the extra moisture there, just so that my paper doesn't soak it up. And you can see I just took my paper towel roll and just tried to suck up some of that moisture there as I'm going along, so that the paper will absorb that color, which is awesome. And you can just see that I'm just moving that block around, and then just to avoid it buckling too much, I just go in and sop up some of that water with the paper towel before it all soaks into the cardstock. So I'm just going to do that, continue that process until I like the amount of color that I've got on here. And once I do, I'm going to start thinking about what else I want to add to my background. So I think about adding some stamping. If you followed me for a while, you know I'm a huge fan of stamping on layouts. I don't do it every time, obviously, but I do when I'm creating my own layout. I really like doing that as a technique to create some interest on your background. I think it's just a really neat way of just adding a little bit of extra pizzazz to your layout. So here you can just see I'm just adding a little bit of splatters, and then I'm going to find some stamps in my stash that I can use to add some detail here to my background. So for that little process there, I just took a little brush from my stash. That is a Vicky Bouton brush, and I just watered down my ink on that acrylic block and just picked it up with that paint brush and splattered it onto the layout, so that I've got some messy splatters in that green, in those greens as well. Just gonna check out and see that I like how everything's going here, how much color I have there, and I'm liking that so far. I like the balance and I like the colors. I like how the colors are just subtle behind there. They just add a little bit of color. And I believe I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. Yeah, here comes the stamp. So this is a red rubber stamp from a company called Darkroom Door, and they actually are one of my favorite kind of like a distress look stamp company. I love their stamps. This one is called Jolly Jonquille, and it is just kind of like a mixture of florals and text, and I really love it. So I'm just putting some of that green ink on there again, and I'm not even going to put this on a block. I'm just doing it with my hand here, and this is a collage stamp so that you can see it's a mixture of text and florals. I really love how that looks, and I like how the ink is just subtle there. It's not too bold, but yet you can see that it's there, which is, I love that. I really like that look. So I'm going to let that dry just for a couple seconds, and here you can see here I'm just wanting to place my photos down again and see how I'm liking that. Now, of course, I'm going to add a bunch of layers on here as well, so that the ink and the stamping and whatnot is going to just really blend in. Now, I really did some stash diving for this layout, and I went in and I got a bunch of the Emerson Lane collection from Heidi Swapp. Honestly, Heidi Swapp is just like so amazing. I love all of her stuff. It's just beautiful. And what I really love about this Emerson Lane collection is the colors are just really subtle. And the die cut pack just has some really cool pieces for layering. So if you haven't seen that before, check it out. I'm sure scrapbook.com or someplace like that still has these die cuts in stock. But it's that die cut pack that I'm going to be using to do a bunch of layering with. So I just love that there's a bunch of navy in there. There's some greens. There's a bunch of vellum pieces and so on. And you can see how these are just going to layer beautifully with this layout. And of course, there's a bunch of wood grain pieces, which Heidi usually has in her collections. And I love that too. So I'm just going to add a bunch of little bits and pieces here along the way. Now, I also really wanted to cut that left side of my paper down. And so I did. I cut it down about 1 inch off that left side. So you can see that it now, that stamp that I put down there, the Darkroom Door stamp, just kind of goes off the edge, which I like that. I just feel like that's kind of like a really organic look. And I like that, how it looks. So now I'm just going to add a little strip of just plain craft and then a little bit of pattern paper from Emerson Lane, and it's kind of like a diamond shaped pattern, geometric pattern again with navy, and so it's going to bring the navy in over to the side, which I love that color combo. The craft and the navy is just awesome, and it's just really a nice combo with that geometric paper over to the right. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to vary the width of that those strips over to the left, just so that they don't look weird. Like I didn't want 2 strips exactly the same width. So the craft is going to be a little bit wider than the navy, but the whole thing is going to measure out to 12 inches again. So because I cut 1 inch off, I wanted those additional pieces that I'm putting over onto the left, those 2 strips, to add up to 1 inch so that I still have a 12 by 12 layout when I'm all finished. So I'm just going to trim those up and make sure that they're nice and straight. And I really like how this is looking. Now, I did add a little bit of additional stamping with another text stamp down at the bottom and the top of the photo area. That stamp that I used there is from 49 Market, and it's from the Captured Adventures series. If you have never seen that and you love distressed stamps, boy, check it out, guys, because they're amazing. I think I might have gotten those at Simon Says Stamp or scrapbook.com. But it is the Captured Adventure series from 49 Market, and it's just cool. You know, there's some text, there's some shapes and so on. Just really, really neat for stamping in behind your photo layers or just anywhere on your project. Or if you like to do art journaling or whatever, those stamps are fantastic for that too. Now, I am going to be using some Dear Lizzie Puffy Alphas in just a really pretty pale blue. I just love this color. And this is from Dear Lizzie's latest collection, the newest collection. I forget what it's called, but these are the puffy outfits from that collection. And I am pretty sure I got these at scrapbook.com. So I really love how those look. They spell out garden. And then I'm going to just take another puffy word or phrase sticker there that says fun in gold. I think that's a crepe paper from Crepe Paper. And add some Heidi Swap Color Shine splatters here in gold, and the layout's pretty much done. So the title is Garden Fun, and then you can see that vellum piece overlay on the photos that says weekend, and I love this. I really like how this turned out. So I'm just going to dab up some of the excess color shine there. There is going to be a little transition here, and I'm going to be showing you what I am giving away for the International Scrapbooking Day contest. Pardon me. I am going to, just as soon as I'm done here dabbing up this Heidi Shine, I'm going to tell you about the winner for that. So that is coming up in about T-5 seconds. Just want to show you a couple of close-ups. I did add some enameled dots to the layout, and now I'm just going to rough up that edge of craft, and I'm actually going to split the paper and add a couple of staples. I did add a few staples here and there to some other places on the layout. Hopefully you can see that in the still shots at the very end of the video where I've got some close-ups, but I just like doing that. I think it's a really neat way to add a little bit of extra texture and interest to your layout, and it just looks kind of cool. So you'll see that over on that left edge once the layout is all finished. So here you see, you just take the paper, just rip it up, fold it over, and just stick a couple of staples in there. Now, the giveaway that I am doing is the Flower Market collection from Cartabella. It's a beautiful collection, and the winner for my giveaway is Vivian Wiltshire. So Vivian, if you're watching this, I am going to leave my email in the description box below, so make sure that you send me a message. We'll try to connect somehow on the internet here, and I can get your mailing address and send this gorgeous collection out to you. I love this collection so much. I think it's beautiful. Congratulations, and thank you so much everyone for watching and for commenting. Let me know how your gardening's going. If you're doing some gardening, let me know what you're up to these days in your scrappy space. Let me know if you've tried some stamping on your backgrounds, if you like that look, and keep on watching. I've got more videos coming up. I've got another card video coming up later this week, and I hope to see you again here on my channel. Have an amazing day, guys. Happy spring, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.